So, I want to have this little conversation with y'all. So, I just left Walmart, and y'all know Walmart's my store, okay? So, I just left Walmart, and I go to Walmart pretty frequently. I believe the last time that I went to get groceries, yeah, I went to Walmart. Did I not? I go to Walmart pretty frequently. It hasn't been over 2 weeks since I've been to Walmart. And today I went to Walmart and noticed that they have taken all of the self-checkout lanes, the old ones, like with the long belts, they've taken all those out and they have replaced them with very different, very high-tech equipment. And as I'm sitting here checking out, I'm one in awe of how quickly they've done it. And then I get this word dropped in my spirit about how quickly they're going to do a lot of stuff. One of the goals, and I don't know if you realize this, I don't even know if you pay attention to this or not, but I'm going to bring it up. One of the goals is get rid of money entirely. What better way to get rid of money entirely than to get people used to paying only with their phones? I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. There will come a time where there will be no way around it. You won't be able to use cash, okay? There'll be cashless machines. So either you're going to conform or you're going to not be able to eat, okay? Or you're not going to be able to get the things that you need. That's simply put. And I was just talking to my husband about it. And then, it just came over me. Like, this is nothing to even be afraid of. You know why? Because Jesus said this was going to happen. He said that this was going to take place. And he said, you know what? When all of this is taking place, don't even worry about it. Just be aware that this is yet but the beginning of the end, okay? And then, like I said, I was talking to my husband, just talking about, they're going to get to a point, and it's not going to happen in my lifetime, right? But I can't say exactly when it's going to happen. No one really can. It's not going to happen in my lifetime, even though they're doing so much. It's going to be, if you can think of it, it'll be like my son's time of living, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they're going to have it to where you can go online and you can order some food, like groceries, okay? Completely cashless. You can order groceries. There'll be a car that no one has to drive, that completely can drive itself to your house. It'll know where you live, okay? And things like, I don't know if you've heard this before, but things like let's say you had a parking ticket and you didn't pay it. You refused to pay it, okay? You're driving a car now that knows exactly who you are and knows exactly where the police station is and will lock up and drive you straight to jail. Like, that's the type of high technology stuff they're going to be dealing with. It's going to be next level. And a lot of people, especially like very techie people, are really excited about it. And it is exciting to know some of the advancements that have taken place, because those advancements go all the way around. They go to medicine, they go to all kind of things. But we still not God, okay? We're still not God. We're still not God. And I said all that to say, this. I want you to realize that your life is so important. Though you don't understand the big picture of your life, I don't understand the big picture of my life, because I'm not God. You were put into this world, into this earth at this specific time for a specific reason. And I want you to understand the urgency of letting go when it's time to let it go, and moving on when it's time to let go, moving on when it's time to move on. Because there are children that need to be born. There are things that need to be birthed through you, that the next generation, when all this crazy stuff is taking place in the world, that generation is going to need. They're going to need it, okay? It's not going to be, they're not going to have all the luxuries. Though they're going to be very technologically savvy, they're not going to have all the luxuries of really, 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 really knowing the truth about who Jesus is, okay? And if you have something that you are to do, now I can't speak to all the stuff that you want to do just because you want to do it. I'm talking about something God told you to do. Baby, you better get to it. And you have to understand the urgency. Don't let things like anxiety, depression keep you bottled up and not push this thing forward. Baby, you better do this thing no matter what it costs. You want your children and your children's children and your children's children's children to look and say, oh my God, my grandmother, oh my God, my grandpa, I'm so glad that they did it. Either way, whatever they had to go through to get this thing done, whatever they had to go through to birth this thing, I'm so glad that they put one foot in front of the other and they birthed it, because they're going to need it in a way that maybe you can't comprehend it right now. You're still stuck on what someone else did to you. And that is very valid. I do understand that. But there's so much more to life than what someone did to you. Baby, destiny is waiting. And it's not just for you. These children are going to be out here. These people are going to be out here hopeless. It's going to be crazy. And I believe that God is showing me this because you guys know my daycare stuff is starting to come in. And I've been trying to get around this a long time. I'm like, Lord, I'll go work at a daycare. I'll do this. I'll do that. I ain't opening up another daycare. And he's like, Tanzania, they need this. They are going to need this. And you might not see the need now. You might not understand the need now. But I'm trying to do something through you that they're going to need. You're going to call it your life's work. This is going to take me the rest of my life to finish. But at the end of my life, I'm going to realize that God set something in motion when he gave me this vision that my children are going to carry out. Not just for the sake of carrying it out, but carrying it out because there's going to be a generation of people who need it. What are you holding on to? What is inside of you that there's going to be a generation of people who are going to be crying out for it? And because you're anxious and because you're depressed and because you can't get over what mama did and what daddy said and what mama didn't do and what daddy didn't do, you never birthed it. You never pushed it forward. Oh God, I rebuke every lie trying to tell you that you can't do it anyway, that you can't get up and get it done anyway. The devil is a liar. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it in this season. It may not be completely done. Your whole life. It may take your whole life for you to completely do it, but it will be done. It's going to start with you. It's going to start with you. I believe that. I believe that if you're watching this channel and you resonate with my journey, your journey resonates with my journey, it's because you have something special inside of you. You have something special inside. You're gonna be the one that starts something. You're a pioneer. You're gonna be the one that starts something, and you don't care about who finishes it. All you care about is that you were obedient to God and you started it. And I want to speak really quickly to women in relationships. So I want to finish our conversation because I feel like I want to make this video by itself. It's going to be like standalone. I actually wanted to tell you guys this about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? The people going to say I'm always coming with a word. And I feel it so strongly again today. As I told you guys what happened earlier. But I'm thinking of... something came to my remembrance that happened a long time ago. And the word that God gave me was override for this month. Like, you're going to have to override some thought processes. Some of us, there's been one single thought. One thought of failure, one thought of, if it's what someone told you, maybe what you told yourself, maybe you had a bad experience. There's been one thought that's literally kept you in a cycle. And every time you go to do the thing that God told you to do, it just like repeats. I want to tell you right now the urgency in you overriding that thought. That's what God told me to tell you. I told you like 2 weeks ago that this month of July was going to be a month that if you can override that thought, every time it comes up, every time that thing comes up, if you can override it, baby, you can get to something. You can get to that thing that I talked about at the front part of this video, the thing that you were really born to do. And I want to bring this example to you. Now, y'all know a lot of my business at this point. But like I always say, I kind of try to refrain from stories that include other people because they also include other people's lives, and just because I am aware and I have come to this sense of knowing through my relationship with God, that doesn't mean that everyone is in this space. But I want to tell you this. So you guys know I got pregnant when I was 14. I had my son when I was 15 years old. And I was in a relationship during that time, of course, one of those teenage love affairs. I moved, you guys know the story, I moved from my family's home. I moved to Houston against their wishes. really against my better judgment, I did it anyway. I knew there was something more for me. I came here and I went to culinary art school. I don't know if you guys knew that. I ended up moving off the culinary art campus and staying in their family home. And things just kind of went from worse to worse, sir, okay, if you know what I mean. And I'm, without going all into detail, there was one instance where I had been asking God, like, how am I gonna get out of the situation? Like, it got so bad, every time I tried to leave, it was literally like a fight, like a literal fight. My son wasn't living with me at the time. It was a mess, and I knew it was a mess. And I knew that not only was this not the type of mess that I was raised in, I had never seen anything like this before. I understood that this lifestyle could also be the lifestyle that my child will have at some point in time if I didn't get out of it. I understood that on a very low level, if you know what I mean. So I remember this one day, gentleman, I'm gonna call him a gentleman just because, I'll get to why. He said, hey, you want to come to Taco Bell with me? And I'm like, no. And I said no, I didn't want to go because I end up always spending my money, and I feel like spending my money. I wanted to keep my money. So I was like, no, I don't want to go. He calls me maybe like 10, 15 minutes later and tells, like, crying on the phone, telling me that the police pulled him over. And I knew at the time he was like on probation. You know, he had a lot of run-ins with the law and things of that nature. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, I don't even know what does it mean? Basically, he was saying that he was gonna go to jail for 2 or 3 years. And I got off the phone with him and I started sobbing. I mean, sobbing. The police officer came to the house and handed me like his keys and driver's license and things like that. And I'm crying. I'm sobbing, okay? And then his grandma comes and kind of taps me on the shoulder like, baby, it's gonna be okay. Well, she doesn't know that at this time I realized that I have an open window of time to make up my mind, to really override the thought of, Tanzania, you're not going to be able to make it out here on your own if you leave this house. If you don't stay here, you're not going to be able to make it. You're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to happen. You've been in this relationship since you were 14 years old. How could you leave now? If I wasn't able to override that thought in that moment, I would have been stuck. And I don't think you realize when God's pushing you to walk away from, most of the time, I know I'm talking to a lot of women here, it's a relationship. It's more than the relationship that you're walking away from. You're actually walking away from a system. You're actually walking away from a cycle. And even though it's hard in the moment, baby, it's necessary. Because let me tell you, at that time I was, I think, 18 years old. He passed away when I was 23 years old. The month that my son came to live with me, his dad passed away. Like, I was planning for him to come move with me this month, and his dad passed away this month, and he came to move with me the next month. That had already been in the works for over a year. God knew this was going to happen all along. And let me tell you that if I would have stayed in that house, even though I was 17 years old at the time, if I would have stayed in that house, I would have stayed in that system. And when I planned for my son to move with me, he would have moved right into that system that I refused to break. He would have moved right into that cycle that I refused to get out of. And looking at it from this standpoint, it wasn't only their family cycle. My family had a cycle, had a system as well, that because I made up my mind, because I decided to override the thoughts that if I'm the first one, if nobody can see me rightly, I'll never be able to see myself rightly. Because I was able to override those thoughts, I was able to get to the next place. And I'm not saying that I've arrived anywhere, because I haven't arrived anywhere. But I can tell you one thing is for certain. When God tells you that it's time to walk away, you need to walk away with such urgency, like your life depends on it. And I don't mean your life as in like the life as we know it. I mean the light, like the reason that you're here on this earth is depending on you walking away at the time that you're supposed to walk away. And I don't want to talk about laying a hold of anything right now, because I don't think that's what this season right here is about. This is about walking away when it's time to walk away. Walking away from even thoughts. Sometimes it's just time to let go of that victim mentality. Sometimes it's just time to let go of your idea of how you thought your life was going to go. It's just time to let it go. And I want you. You know what it is. You've been thinking about it for a long time. Like, I'm not the first person who's brought it up. You've been thinking about that thing. Like, you're like, how long am I going to have to think this thought? How long am I going to be stuck in this cycle? How long am I going to lose 10 pounds and gain 50? How long am I going to be saying I want to lose weight because I want my health to be better, because I don't want to have the same health problems as my mom had, that my dad had? How long have I been saying, I'm going to stop my bad spending habits because I'm tired of being broke? I'm tired of borrowing from this person and robbing Peter and never paying Paul back. How many times are you going to do that without actually changing, without actually overriding the behavior that gets you stuck in the cycle? And I will tell you, now, I don't do no Bible studies here on this channel. I believe that the best time to study your Bible, to study your word, and to build a relationship with God is just you and God. I would urge you to bring that thing to God, whatever it is. You know what it is. You know exactly what it is. Just like I know what it is. I've known what's been stopping me from opening up this daycare and really interacting with people on the level that I know that God's calling me to. I know what it is for a very long time. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say like 10 plus years. I've known for a very long time. And I played around with it. It was real cute when I was younger, and it was real cute when I didn't understand how much was connected to me doing what God said. It was cute then. It was cute, girl. I'm just a little anxious. It was cute then. It's not cute anymore. It's not cute anymore. And see, it's something as simple as them changing the self-checkout made me realize that it's really not cute for anyone. There's a sense of urgency for you to get it right and for you to do whatever it takes to override those thoughts. So I hope it was a really happy video, okay? As always, if you have a question, ask a question, and I'll see y'all in the next one.